G'day guys, welcome back to Stat Chat Sports. You're here with us for our Matchweek 5 of the Premier League review. We're changing it up this week. Look, I'm gonna narrate things. I think this week. Just take a bit of load off you, mate. You've really held up your end of the bargain here. It's my turn to run it. But look, another great week of Premier League action. It's a lot of goals scored again. There's a few real drubbings going on, but how do you see it, mate?
Yeah, midweek games are always, or midweek fixtures, I suppose, are always interesting. They change the dynamics a little bit, and you maybe see a few surprising results, which I think we probably saw this week. So, yeah, overall, a quite enjoyable week.
Look, we'll get straight into it with our hit, miss, and hold fire segment that we usually do every week. The hit for this week, Southampton. Did you want to go over that, Steve?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, Southampton, as you mentioned, the hit, beating a Chelsea side that struggling at the moment. Haven't seemed to hit their strides as of late. So, any result against I suppose we'll call them a top three side because they probably are at the moment, Chelsea. So any result against a top three side probably deserves to be a hit in my opinion. So, and given the fact that we didn't have massive hopes for Southampton at the start of the season, they've had not a bad start. And to pick up a win against Chelsea is quite good. A couple of good goals in there. The first from Lavia, that was an absolute belter for the young bloke, yeah, and a nice finish from Armstrong as well. His first for a while, I believe. But the stats reads pretty well for Southampton. Wasn't really just a snatch and grab win, although they didn't have the lion's share of possession. But you're not expected to up against the Chelsea side. I think they had a couple of chances stopped on the line. I think Cucurella had one as well, stopped off, or he stopped one off the line, should I say. So I think Southampton were definitely deserving of the 3 points, and it wasn't just a snatch and grab.
Yeah, Thiago Silva with the other goal line clearance. That was pretty acrobatic in a sense. That would look destined to cross the line, and then he puts this little foot behind him and keeps it out. It was pretty acrobatic, and it was good to see. But
goal line
Southampton
for a defender is equivalent to a screamer for a striker. I think they're few and far between, but they're good to watch.
Yeah, they're worth their weight in gold, 100%. I mean, anytime you can save a goal bound shot, you're absolutely doing your job. It'll be interesting to see with Southampton as well. Obviously, we've had the transfer window just close on us this morning, our time, I think. And they went big on deadline day. They've really gone and they went shopping, and they've brought in a few guys that one that's been on the radar of a few bigger teams lately. Duye Chaleta Char, if I've got the pronunciation right, I can't even pronounce pronunciation. I'm doomed. Look, he's been on the radar of a few bigger teams from what I've seen in previous windows, and has now landed himself in the Premier League at Southampton. It'll be pretty interesting to see how he fits in. But I think he could have a pretty good future at Southampton. And I mean, so could the other arrivals. I mean, Southampton are known for producing talent. So if they can work what they've done with a lot of other players previously, they could be onto something.
Yeah, I was just having a quick look on the transfers front there because I haven't seen a whole lot of deadline day transfers, so I wasn't exactly sure who you're talking about. So, and I must admit, I don't even know who the bloke is that you're talking about. So, but if he's had his name thrown around, he must be touted for pretty decent things. So, comes with a 10 million euro price tag, so nothing massive, but something I'm sure obviously Southampton needed. They're obviously in the market for a centre back, so.
I say that as a Liverpool supporter because I know he was talked about as a Liverpool target. Right, so there's been a lot of jokes thrown around that he's taken the traditional route to Liverpool, but
via Southampton, I get it. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, we'll see about that. But yeah, look, Southampton is the hit. I think Good 3 points. 3 points they didn't see coming, but yeah, very well played by Southampton. The miss this week, I'll take the reins here. Anytime you come up against, it's going to be a fun time. And it really wasn't for Nottingham Forest. I mean, these teams are worlds apart, unfortunately, and it really showed. 6-0 win for City, condemning Forest. It's a pretty miserable afternoon for them. And half of those goals, Cancelo had a pretty nice, but they were walked in. Haaland with the hat trick. Look, the blokes had 9 goals in 5 games, but it was one of the most uninspiring hat tricks I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, great.
But yeah, but look, yeah, Forest. It's not the kind of introduction you want to versing the big boys. I mean, you're going to take some losses, but 6-0, it's really not the kind of introduction after 5 games that you want to be experiencing. But I mean, they'll take a lot of experience out of this game and a lot of learnings as a club. I mean, they haven't versed this caliber of team for a long time, Nottingham Forest. So it's it'll be interesting to see how they learn from this.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's fair we don't go too hard on them here. I mean, they're coming against the champions, and they've ran into them on their day where they decided they just wanted to go balls to the wall and just steamroll you. So, yeah, I mean, they walk away with 25% possession. They didn't really do much in the game based on that stat line, but very rarely does anyone have much more than that if you're not Man City versus Man City anyway. So, and at the Etihad, it's a tough place to go for a newly promoted side. But yeah, as you mentioned, like, you know, that's a rude awakening for them. They've had an okay start. I mean, they've had probably some tough fixtures as well. That doesn't come any tougher than City. But yeah, hopefully they learn a few things from this and bounce back because you know, they've spent big in the window. They were one of the bigger spenders in the world. So they'd want to hope that they can turn things around for the good.
I'm not sure what the exact number was, but I think it's something like 18 signings for the window. I think Nottingham Forest made, so that is a pretty incredible number. That's a lot of new players to bring into that team, and obviously the owners are seeing this as a project. They reckon they're pretty confident they're going to stay up, and then they can really get these guys sort of flowing into the team. But they come up against Bournemouth next week, which is going to be a pretty important game for both teams. Sitting 15th and 16th in the table, both have registered a win so far, which is good. But both of these teams are going to be going for those 3 points because by the end of this season, the games, obviously these two are candidates for relegation. Anyone who comes up from the championship automatically gets thrown into that pool. And these games are real 6-pointers, so it's super important next week. And yeah, I'm sorry, not next week. Be on the weekend. So
the time of recording this, yeah.
Yes. So not very long, and yeah, be a very important game. Moving on to our hold fire this week. We like to take a look at a team that we're probably not super sold on where they should be, where they could be, a team that might be improving, a team that might be dropping. But this week we are going to look at Fulham. You want to take this one, Steve? What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think it's about fair to look at Fulham at the moment as a hold fire, based off of their results of the weekend, beating Brighton, who have been pretty impressive thus far this season. I think we've spoken about them in recent weeks of our hit once before. They were in some good form, so to get a win against them was real good. And obviously, out of the 3 promoted sides, they're sitting the prettiest at the moment, sitting 8th, just actually on level points with Liverpool and Leeds above them in 6th and 7th. So they're sitting pretty well right at the moment. They've had some tough fixtures, but not the toughest. I mean, they've faced Arsenal, which they lost to there. That's their one loss of the season, and then beating Brentford and Brighton, as I just mentioned. But the Liverpool draw on opening day probably stands out. I think they played really, really well that game, so probably deserved a bit more than just the point out of that game. So we've seen them take it to some top quality sides, but then at the same end, you look at Wolves, who at the moment are not really performing all that great, currently sitting 18th, and they only just get a point, a nil draw there. So the scales are just about balanced, I feel, with me for Fulham at the moment. I think the probably, I don't want to say the sole reason, but definitely the main reason why Fulham are where they are at the moment is because of their main man, Alexander Mitrovic, with the 5 goals so far this season, only behind Erling Haaland, who, I mean, he scored back-to-back hat-tricks. So, take those out of the equation and Mitro's up top. So we questioned Mitrovic at a point in our pre-season video. How about how well he did last season in the Championship and whether he could replicate that in the Premier League against tougher opponents. And so far, he's doing exactly that. So, yeah, so as long as Mitrovic can continue to score at the pace he is, I think Fulham can finish, have a decent finish somewhere around that mid-table.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, comparing Haaland and Mitrovic is just, it's 2 different beasts. I mean, Haaland, there's no one that's really close to him at the moment in world football. So, definitely not in the Premier League. So, yeah, I mean, Mitrovic, he's done this before. I mean, he was scoring goals for fun last year, and it's good to see him translate some of that into the Premier League so far. And I think he can keep it going. It's it's not a bad Fulham team that they've got there, given the additions, and they've had some pretty decent signings. I think they've just brought in Willian. I think in the last day, I think he's been brought in, which it's a pretty decent signing. But yeah, I think Fulham they'll stay up. I think their form so far, I mean, it's 5 games in. I shouldn't be drawing too many assumptions just yet, but I think they've shown what they've shown us now. It's been enough.
Yeah, they did bring in Willian. I didn't even see that. That's a pretty interesting signing. I saw Dan James as well on loan, from Leeds, and I'm also looking here Lavan Kazawa, the ex PSG left back. They also signed Issa Diop, which is a new one since we did our pre-season preview. So yeah, they've definitely strengthened, which is obviously what they needed coming into the Premier League. So I think that's enough. Well, the signings, you say the signings are enough. They've obviously got to perform, but they're doing it so far. So they're exceeding expectations, I think, is a fair thing to say.
I think 3 of those being Premier League proven to an extent, or Premier League experience is the key there. I mean, you can bring in all the talent you want from the Bundesliga or the French League, the Liga, and all of that. Or they can be as talented as they want to be, but until you've seen them in the Premier League and have proof that they can perform there, it's a different ball game. So I think those are 3 critical signings. And I mean, Willian, he's obviously past his prime, but I think he can offer that squad quite a bit. Well, I think that just about wraps it up for us here today, Steve. Look, if you're enjoying the content, then please like and subscribe. We're almost nearing our sub goal, so if we can hit that 500 subs, probably within a few weeks' time, we'll be loving it. We'll do some live streams. It'll be really good. And thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys soon. Cheers.